Last night, I had the strangest dream. I sailed away to China in a little rowboat to find you, and you said you had to get your laundry cleaned. Didn't want no one to hold you. What does that mean? Ain't nothing gonna break on my stride. Nobody gonna hold me down. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving. Welcome to Nerds Gone Rogue, episode 167. My name is Matt Keel. Alongside me are my buddies. Moose, how are you, sir?
Doing well, bro. Doing
cool.
well.
Glad to hear it. Corey?
Hi.
Kind of mad, kind of
Nope.
tweeting.
I'm great. Thank you for asking, Matt. You know, I always appreciate when you ask me how I'm doing
I
because
do. Well, you know, the people want to know.
some people don't want to know.
And by the people, I basically mean me, because I only ask what I want to know.
But you know, Matt, I really appreciate you. Thank you for asking.
Likewise. This
How are you?
I'm all right. Nobody worried about me. Wait, no, I already did my song.
I recognize that song.
Yeah, theme from Caddyshack, an American classic.
I've never seen Caddyshack.
The movie's good. The song not so much. Kenny Loggins sucks. I'm sorry. Except for the fact that he inspires Archer all the time to do Danger Zone. Okay, so anyway, this is
That's a good song.
I know. This is Nerds Gone Rogue. You can find us at nerdsgonerogue.com, youtube.com/nerdsgonerogue. You can find us on Twitter at Nerds Gone Rogue, on Insta at nerdsgonerogue_official. We have a Discord group. We have a Facebook group. Find us everywhere. Facebook specifically, fb.com/group/Nerds Gone Rogue community. And then go to Discord, search Nerds Gone Rogue. That's how you find us. We go live every Monday night. And we tried to be live by 9. We were just under the wire tonight because we are always on time like the hands of a clock. And you can find our podcast edited in pristine fashion the following Monday. Bagel, thank you for your help.
Bagel wants to host. Let Bagel host.
Bagel, there's nobody out there. No, it's fine. It's fine. You good? Okay, I think he's good. So, we're giving away a game.
Oh yeah, we are, aren't we?
We are giving away the next Call of Duty. It comes out in 2 weeks, gentlemen.
Yeah,
And
that game is coming.
It comes out in 2 weeks. So what you need to do, you need to subscribe to us. Email a screenshot of your subscription to nerdsgoneroguepodcast@gmail.com. Would you like a second entry? Well, then you could subscribe. You could like us on YouTube. Send us a screenshot of that. Would you like a third entry? Write a review on your podcast service of choice and screenshot that and send it to nerdsgoneroguepodcast@gmail.com. And you can have not one, not two, but 3 entries to win the next Call of Duty game. We will be giving it away live on the show Monday before it comes out, so you can get it preloaded and be ready to get online and start melting faces in whatever fashion you choose when it comes out. So
Yeah.
that's how you can win a game from us.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. I think this is the first time I didn't have to say, "Hey Corey, how do we do the 3 entries?"
It's true.
GG, Matt.
Hey, 167 episodes, might as well get something right at some point, right?
Probably at some point.
I mean, otherwise this is just masturbating.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I win.
So we talk rather than talking about, a bunch of random stuff, we try and talk about video games here. Are you guys been playing anything?
I've played a lot of games this week.
Me too.
Some.
Well,
All right.
actually, did I
Hey
play a
guys,
lot?
wait, hold on. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this? You guys are gonna be so proud of me.
Oh wait, no, it's not that. Ready for this?
You guys are gonna be so proud of me.
You bought a Vita.
No. That ship sailed a long time ago. I actually did buy a Vita. It just died, and then I never replaced it. To be fair. So you guys are gonna be so proud. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
I'm playing a little indie game.
A little indie. What?
I don't know if you guys have heard of it or not.
Moose. He's playing an indie game.
Small studio.
It's the unnamed.
Destiny 2.
Ah, yes. Yes.
So
Now independent Bungie game.
yes. Gotcha.
Nah.
Oh man, I've been playing.
I think-
I've been playing
I
that
think-
for like 5 days.
I think Destiny 2 is probably the Sam Adams of indie games, where it's like it's definitely an independent brewery, but they're not considered a craft brewer.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good
Hey,
point.
you know.
Either Sam Adams or New Belgium.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, New Belgium. Well, I think the actual criteria is the barrel amount you. It's the barrel amount you either make or sell.
Oh boy, look
and I
what I
think-
started.
And I think it's like 600,000 barrels. Like if you go above that, you are no longer considered a craft brewer. So like really the only two that aren't are like Sam Adams and Yingling. So
But they're
like
still independent.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
If only Jesse White were here to just argue with us about it.
yeah.
Nah, it's all right.
If only we could probably arrange that.
I
Probably.
mean, if he showed up to argue about it, I'd be like, "Bye, guys." That conversation. I'm just like, I got better things to do with my
he
time.
keep his no beers good outside of New England argument. to
Right,
himself.
right, exactly. You know, like, oh,
So anyway, Destiny 2. Corey, tell us about it.
Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's still Destiny. We're returning to the moon,
Keep dropped, right?
huh?
The new expansion.
Yeah, Shadowkeep. That's pretty much why I've been playing. I'm about.
I've heard a lot of interesting things about this.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things to talk about that I have not gotten to yet.
Like I've heard it's almost like they're kind of doing a rehash of everything that began Destiny for new
Well,
players.
here's the thing.
But also it makes it super confusing for new players.
it's
or is it super confusing for
if you
older
play
players?
if you play Destiny 1, you will get a good nostalgia trip out of it. If you are new to Destiny and are jumping into Shadowkeep, you are going to be so confused. That's pretty much all I can say, because I don't know if you guys know this, but I used to play a lot of Destiny and I'm still kind of confused.
Okay.
But basically, you're going back to the moon, and they are writing the darkness back into Destiny for the first time since vanilla Destiny 1.
Okay.
Which is
Writing
super.
the darkness back into Destiny. That sounds like a weird David Lynchian porno film.
Well, I think what's happening in the story, I don't know, but I'm going to spoil it because nobody really cares about the story in Destiny. Eris Morn, who you haven't seen since The Taken King.
I think I remember that person.
Yeah, it's the weird chick that sounds like a soap opera all the time with the 3 glowing green eyes and the rag around her face.
Oh yeah!
Yeah, her.
My one brief moment in Destiny, I'm like, wow, this is weird.
Yeah. So she has followed she's trying to unlock the darkness. I don't know why. I think it's to try to save her fire team that all died from Crota in Destiny 1. Matt, you remember Crota, right?
I remember Crota.
Yeah, that's how this podcast
mean,
started,
see-
weirdly enough.
But see, here's the thing: like, if they all died, like, all they had to do was kneel in the center of the arena and fall asleep, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's true. You still got the trophy, to be honest.
I did.
You did. So we went back to the moon, and she has unlocked the darkness and discovered a Vex invasion all at the same time. So you go through this area of the moon because you're trying to find her, and you get to, like, the very first level ends with a Crota boss fight. And but I mean, to be fair, you only have to get his health down a quarter of the way, and then like a cutscene happens, and you realize that they're just introducing you to what they're calling nightmares in this game, where the darkness is influencing what you see, and so you're pretty much fighting the Hive. And then, but what they're doing different in Destiny 2 now is, like, every week they're introducing something new. And this past week was the Vex invasion. And every time they introduce something new, they're adding little bits and pieces of the story to the game, which is something new that they haven't really done before. And So it's, other than that though, it's pretty much more Destiny. They changed a lot of the way the systems work. All of your characters are automatically leveled up to 750 for some reason. And everything up to Shadowkeep is free. So if you haven't tried Destiny and you want to, it's all free. And I'm gonna be honest, the vanilla campaign for Destiny 2 is pretty good. The other two that follow it are not great, but Forsaken was also pretty good. So
yeah, I heard. I remember you saying Forsaken was really good, and I think a lot of other people agreed with you.
Yeah, Forsaken actually felt like a pretty solid first-person shooter campaign, kind of almost like Halo instead of more of like an RPG style campaign, which, you know, trying to teach you mechanics and stuff. And vanilla Destiny 2, I understand that, but you know, shooting guns is shooting guns. Am I right? Right. But Destiny 2 is pretty good. I've been streaming it a little bit, so played that. Played some more Gears. Jesse and I was gonna play Control last night, but Jesse got on and we were trying to finish Gears 5. So we're about 2/3 of the way through Act 3, and there's 5 acts. So I really like the way that game is designed. The open world stuff is pretty cool. The just the environments, the way they're changing up the environments is stuff that we've never seen in Gears before. I probably talked a little bit about it last week, but that second act opens up in this really bright snowy area, and this third act opens up in like this red desert area. I don't know if you guys saw The Last Jedi or not, but the very end of that movie where they're on the white planet, and like when the ships kind of dig down into the sand, you get that red kind of bursts. That's what this area reminds me of. Very stylistic and very colorful, which is, you know, not really Gears.
Yeah.
So everything.
Now I remember Gears being talked about as a very brown game.
Yeah,
so
Gears.
You talk about it like this is
now
really,
you're talking colors, and we're like, what?
Yeah, colors. What? Yeah. Like Gears 1, 2, and 3 were very brown, very, you know, gray and brown mixed with some red and brown guts because you chainsawed monsters. And then, but Gears 4 really added color to the palette, and now Gears 5 is just kind of off the rails. It's like, I don't even know if this is the same series anymore. But I like the character development. I said this last week, but it really almost reminds me of the way God of War changed how people thought of that series. Gears 5, I think, is doing the same thing. So, but yeah, if you have Game Pass or you want to spend the $60, like, it's totally worth it. The multiplayer is also very good. Horde mode is fantastic. Dodgeball is back, so very excited about Gears right now.
Old move, Cotton.
Yeah.
See how it works for him.
Yeah. Yep. So I also played about 45 minutes of Control before we started, and before I realized there was a train wreck sitting on my desktop. So
how far did you get into Control? Did you like start really exploring, or did you just start trying to get?
Well, I've played 45 minutes, but it's probably if you were to regularly play it, it's probably only the first 15 or 20 minutes. But I'm really trying to get into every nook and cranny and like explore stuff and reading the collectibles, because the collectibles are if you read them, like, it adds so much story to the game, you know, and it's like just what I've been reading so far is like super interesting. And the first few collectibles are kind of your standard, okay, you're in the Bureau of Control, and this is what, you know, these agents are doing, and this is, you know, their dockets and their schedules, and you know what kind of weapons they carry and all that kind of stuff. And there's a really interesting janitor that you meet at the beginning, which I'm sure probably has some sort of story connotations to it at some point. But
did you get to the first enemy covered in red?
I did not. And like I said, I've really just been exploring like the building so far, and I went up the elevator, and it's this. I really like the look of this game, like the stark.
Ditto. Yes.
like just the stark, like even at the beginning where like you walk in the building's very like gray and white, but even opposed to Jesse's kind of like, I think they gave her red hair for a reason.
Yeah.
Because it makes her stand out, and everything else kind of stands out against this stark contrast of the building. But I really like the look of this game. It feels a lot like Quantum Break, if I'm going to be 100% honest with everybody. I know a lot of people.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
It does. It's the same company. It would
Yeah,
be
I know.
weird if they didn't make Quantum Break, but sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know a lot of people didn't really play that game, but if you have an Xbox, you should play that game because it's on Game Pass, and it's really interesting to see that game before this game. So, but yeah, Control, I can't wait to play more Control because I feel like it's going to be pretty high up on my game of the year for sure. So I was like, the other day I was like, man, I really want Control, but Ghost Recon, like I know a lot of people are saying mediocre things about it, but it's like what they're complaining about is it kind of exactly what I would want from that style of game. Because they're like, I actually jumped back into Assassin's Creed Odyssey this week too, but it kind of reminds me of like a militarized version of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is, like sounds really cool to me. And so, but I was like, no, I want to play Control because I know that that's going to be a better discussion for us when Game of the Year comes around, because I know Ghost Recon's not going to be anybody's Game of the Year.
Right.
No offense to that game, but it's just probably not going to be. So
Well, in Ghost Recon's defense, like I didn't even think about that game. Like, and I try and pay attention a lot of the time. I try and read reviews. I have several sites that I go to, and I look at their reviews and or scores. Having read both GameSpot's and Waypoint's reviews for the game, like Waypoint does a really good job of selling that game. If you want to, it sells the game in a very Borderlands sort of way, where if you don't want to think about anything that's written in the game and you just want to think about playing it, like the play part of it is actually really fun and really gripping, but everything else around it is not good.
Yeah.
Like that, and like at that point, I was like, man, listening to Rob or reading Rob's talking about this, like that sounds fun.
Yeah. I mean,
But then you go like maybe, and then I went and looked at Breakpoint some more. I watched people play. I'm like, but everything tells me I don't want to play this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I kind of got that vibe too, but like, I don't care about the story in most Ubisoft games, to be 100% honest, like I just want to play the game and see what kind of gear, like it's kind of like what the Division was also for me. Like I know I didn't play a lot of the Division 2, but like just upgrading your gear score and finding better guns and taking out a situation the way you kind of want to is like, sounds kind of good to me. So
I mean, Division 2 was a vast improvement over the first one.
Yeah, and like that's a game I really am sad that I didn't stick with, but time and money and other games, to be 100% honest with you. And
you don't got time for everything, man.
I'm finally falling into that realization that like I really only have time for one game as a service, quote unquote, and like Destiny's going to be that game for me, unless something really changes. I mean, Apex and Fortnite and stuff, I dabble in, and even Blackout to an extent, but like the game I'm going to take seriously is going to be Destiny, and like the other games are just, hey, if my friends are on and playing, then I'll play it. But what can you do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least from that respect, Apex and Fortnite are free.
It's true.
So, have you been playing anything else?
There was something else Fire Emblem and what's that other game I was playing?
Any update on Fire Emblem?
No.
Okay.
That's about it though.
Okay.
So,
Bruce, what have you been playing?
I have been playing a lot of Borderlands. Again, because I'm trying to narrow down completing that platinum, which I got a trophy closer today in doing.
Cool, congratulations.
So-
What trophy did you get?
I cleared out one of the areas. It was just one of the location
Like one of the
trophies.
location-based trophies? Okay.
Yeah, you're not there yet.
No, I'm
So I
not.
don't want to spoil it for you. So, anyways, I'm just like clearing some areas, getting the Iridian writings, all that stuff, and trying to get all the I don't have to get all the collectibles, but I'm like, I'd like to get all the collectibles.
Yes,
so
you
even
do.
like stuff that doesn't count towards the trophy, I'm still kind of getting. Like I think the radio towers and the claptraps don't count.
Mm-mm.
So I'm still getting those because they're fun. Like if they show up on the map, I'm like, oh, I'll go get that, because it's experience too.
Yeah.
But
Well, like the Typhon logs are just good. Like I think
they're funny.
I think they're
They did a
really
really good job.
good.
I think personally, in my opinion, that's the best thing about the game.
Yeah.
Um,
I
as
mean, the
far
best
as, like,
writing
the story
writing
goes.
in the game
Like-
are those, like, for sure.
Like I thought more and more about it. Like I feel like the enemies, the two enemies in the game are just they're just fucking annoying, and you just want to kill them because they're annoying. They're not even like endearing. Like Handsome Jack was annoying and an asshole, but at least like he had some charm to him. These two, it's just like no. I just like every time I see them pop up on my Echo thing, like I just want to put a bullet between their eyes. Like I hate them to the nth degree. But then later on, some things make sense, and so you're just kind of like the story can be like retrospective, and you can be like, all right, like looking back on the story, like maybe still not as good as Handsome Jack. Obviously, Borderlands 2 story out of all the Borderlands is still the best.
Yeah.
But I feel like Borderlands 3 is the better of like the gameplay, the shooting, fast travel, like all the quality of life stuff. They still need some more quality of life stuff. Like I was talking about it the other day with some friends of mine. We were playing. I was just helping. Dude, like I was playing with a buddy of mine from one of the first podcasts I listened to, and we used to play Borderlands together. Like that's how far back it goes. And so like I saw he was on. I like invited him to a party. We started chatting. I jumped in his game, and we were just like tearing stuff up, having a good old time. And like I was like, man, like it would be cool if they did this, and this. And we were talking about. He's like, they probably got to do like a lot of bug stuff first, and then we'll get to the quality of life. And I was like, that's a good point, But like, so like my main issue is like, you could play two different modes. You could play cooperative, and then there's competitive. Like so, like if you're playing cooperative, whatever.
That's a lot of dumb words.
It is. So basically what it means is if I jump in, if Matt invites me to the game and it's set up to cooperative, it means that the enemies are my level and the enemies for me are my level and the enemies for him are his level. And all the loot that drops for me is my level and all the loot that drops for him is his level. But if he does cooperative, cooperative,
It's just
it
one
means
loot
that
table.
I'm just in at his level with my level 50, just destroying shop, like wrecking shop. And so the cool thing about cooperative is the fact that the loot tables are separate, but the problem is I have to pick up loot to be like, I don't want this anymore. Like I pick up a skin that has no level requirement, and I'm like, I already know this. Do you know this? And he's like, no. Like I have to pick it up to drop it. Like it would be awesome to just walk up to the thing, and instead of picking it up and dropping it, I can just hit triangle to pass on it. You know what I mean? Like triangle's not used when you're engaged with the items in the game as far as like the loot dropping. Like just hit triangle and pass. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be super simple for the developers to like write code to just be like, as soon as someone hits triangle over it, it pops up for everybody else.
Yeah.
But, maybe think about adding that feature so that it can make loot, like just giving up loot, like easier. Because like with World of Warcraft, like you could just pass on loot and then you aren't even part of like the rolling for the loot. Like If you're trying to help people through a dungeon, they're just the two people that are rolling on the loot, and so you're not even a factor in it.
Right.
Anyways, so was helping him out. I got a bunch of loot from another buddy of mine. Got a really good shield, a real good artifact, really good grenade. Just running with some guns. I dropped, like, I've come to find out that, like, a lot of people have been saying, like, the Mayhem mode is easier on True Vault Hunter mode. I haven't tried True Vault Hunter mode yet, but it is more, Mayhem mode is more punishing on normal play than True Vault Hunter mode. And I don't know if they meant it to be that way. So I'm just clearing side quests. Like, I don't need to fight. I don't need to be in a 20-minute battle with an anointed every 5 minutes while I'm just trying to clear out side missions. So I dropped it from Mayhem 1. And that's Mayhem 1. That's not even Mayhem 3, which is the top one that you could do. And I just dropped it from Mayhem 1 down to regular. And now I use I've got an infinity pistol, which means basically there's no, I don't have a problem with ammo.
I don't have to reload ever.
I'm just running around with a gun, like big bosses that pop up for the missions. Like, I just pop my skill and just melt their goddamn face, and I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm just moving through this, trying to get this done. I'm not trying to do mayhem mode. Anyways, so I've been playing that. You and I and your significant other played some Castle Crashers last night, which was a lot of fun. But we found that there are some issues with connectivity.
Yes, there are.
Me and Jason found there were some issues with it the other night that we played. I think him and I played like Thursday or something, or maybe it was Friday or whatever, maybe Wednesday. It was sometime last week, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Like, we're just sitting in party, and party is like dead quiet, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm fighting the boss." "What do you mean, what am I doing?" He's like, "You're just like swinging at stuff on my screen, and there's nothing to swing at." I'm like, "Are you not on the carriage? Like, there's a carriage that you ride and you have to fight a boss." He's like, "No." He's like, "I'm just standing here, like, waiting for you to stop swinging at stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, well then, obviously there's an issue with the connectivity."
Yeah, there's a connectivity issue there.
So Matt and I suffered it, so I knew it wasn't just like a fluke incident. So
we figured out a way around it too. I'm like Moose. Yeah. Tell me where you're at, and I'm just like, just move right so we can keep moving.
Yes, so they were able to, because like I was on the load screen for Matt's character, and I couldn't do anything. Like, I couldn't even, like, I would have had to exit out of the game to get out of it. Anyways, besides some connectivity issues, the game's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. We had a blast playing it. Also been playing Hotline Miami on my Switch at work. I posed the question in the group maybe last week sometime, and I think I should have rephrased the question. I was like, is it the most violent game on Switch? And I think I need to rephrase that to be, is it the most graphically needless violently game on Switch? Which I think it is. Because, like, if you think of, like, Doom, because Corey brought up Doom, or he was like, you know, Doom is probably the most violent. And, like, Doom, you're fighting demons. So that's kind of like, okay, you know, if you're put in that situation where you gotta fight like demons, like, yeah, like, fight demons, shit's gonna go crazy. Okay, Mortal Kombat, kind of the same situation. You know, to save the world, you have to, like, enter a fighting competition, whatever. But, like, Hotline Miami is just like graphically, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, like, you know, because it's an M-rated game.
Right.
I think of myself as an adult. I probably am not. But my age tells, you know, people that I can buy and play the game.
You'll get there at some point.
Okay. So anyways, I'm playing the game, and like you basically, it's top down. You got to run through the game, and there's enemies, and so you hit a guy from across the room. You throw your weapon at him, and it doesn't kill him, and then all of a sudden he's just crawling on the ground, and like if you go over to him and you hit a button. Like, if you picked up a knife while going over to him, you'll slit his throat. If you don't have a knife, you'll bang his head against the ground like 3 times. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, that's, you know, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting soft in my old age, but I was not like, not even disturbed, but just like, it didn't like catch my attention when I was first playing it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I was just desensitized at the time or something, but I was just like, it's definitely an M-rated game, and like no kid should be playing it. But it is still a hell of a lot of fun. It is a hell of a lot of fun. Like, I love knocking dudes over with the door and running like over their bodies to go kill somebody else and then coming back and like, killing them. And I'm like I think there's like 20 chapters. I'm in like chapter 10, I think, or something like that. So I'm getting to be like halfway through.
This is the first one.
Yeah.
So I think there's like 15 or 16 actual levels.
I think the other ones were extras.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I caught up to where I was on the PlayStation 4. I've actually passed where I was on the PlayStation 4, which is nice. So I'm looking forward to beating it and taking on Hotline Miami 2. But excuse me, love the series. I think, like, if I was going to play it on a PS4 controller or a Pro controller, personally, and I know, like Jason and Jeff might kill me for it, but I'd rather play it on the Pro controller than the PS4 controller. Just, I don't know, just the buttons. I don't know. I feel like the trigger pull on the ZL and ZRs are not as long as the trigger pulls are on L2 and R2 on the PS4, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
And like it's a shallower button press. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's a little quicker of a response, if that makes sense. So that's why, and especially because that's your, like L2 is to like look around and stuff. So the quicker you can look around and assess the situation, like the better off it is for you. And I think R2 is your, actually I don't even know what it does, because I know R1 is like your swing or whatever, like, or if you have a gun, you shoot your gun. And then L1 is your pickup weapon, and R1 and then it's like throw your weapon. Like if you have a knife and you're entering a room and you want to throw it at a guy that's got a gun so he doesn't shoot you, you can lock onto him with L2 and pushing the right trigger or the right analog stick and chuck it at him. But anyways, been playing that stuff, and then I did download Destiny 2 just to see what all the craziness is about. I might get back into it, see what's going on with it. I
know why you downloaded Destiny 2, because Richie asked you about it.
Well, we were talking about it, and I was like, man, I haven't played that in like fucking forever. Well, we were talking about playing Borderlands, and he's like, I'm tired of Borderlands. And then he was like, well...
Which is an easy place to be.
Yeah, he was like, well, he's tired of the story, and he's got a lot of... Not the story. He's tired of the, like, this is what, the fourth game in the series, and you still start the game out with extremely limited ammo, 2 gun slots. It's like the fourth game. Like I can understand if you start us out with like everything unlocked, but then like scale back the weapons, you know what I mean? So it's a little bit harder, or like beef up the enemies just a tad bit or something, or kind of evolve on the game mechanics to where it's not just, oh, you're a new Vault Hunter, so you get 2 gun slots. Like, there's no ammo fucking anywhere. You have no cash, and it's like, I'm a Vault Hunter. I've been hunting like vaults for like ever now, and like
I'm known as a Vault Hunter. Like you can't just go walking around saying I'm a Vault Hunter and expect people to know that.
Right. Like if you say that, like they expect you to have like the best loot, like, or the best weapons, like the best shield and artifacts and class mods and stuff like that. But like no, like you're building from scratch again, and it's just like. 2, like 1, I can understand because you're building, like it's the first game. 2, I can understand the way they built it into the story, but 3, I'm like, no. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this is like it. So he has a valid point there, and then a lot of it's like I agree with him. A lot of it's like fetch quests. It's like you go over here and you do this, you go over here, and like I agree with you. Like you were saying, you can't wait to get the mayhem mode, and like mayhem mode's where a lot of the fun is. Mm-hmm. Depending on what you're doing and what the modifier is for mayhem, it can be a lot of fun. Like you could get a modifier where it's like, hey, 50% cryo damage, and you're like, oh, motherfuckers, I got an assault rifle that does nothing but cryo damage.
Everybody freeze!
and it like annihilates everything while you're running around getting experience, And so anyway, so he was just like, yeah, we've been playing Destiny 2, and I'm like, I don't feel like I gave that game a fair shake. Like I played it through and I beat it, so I just like downloaded it. I think the DLC from the first game or not the first game, from the first year, like the first season pass is free, he was saying.
Well, then Corey just said everything up to Shadowkeep is free. Yes.
Yeah. That's the DLC I'm talking about, like the DLC. That
Now, is it just Destiny 2 or is it all Destiny?
It's just. I mean, it's Destiny. It's Destiny 2. Forsaken, Warmind, and Curse of Osiris.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some things that are still behind the paywall, but I don't exactly know what it is. But all of the campaigns, the whole multiplayer suite, and I'm pretty sure most of, if not all of the raids up to Shadowkeep are free.
Yeah.
So
I think
it's
you're right.
It's a lot of content for free.
That's what we were talking about, and I didn't play the DLC, so I was like, okay, well, cool. Like, I'll download it, play that.
Curse of Osiris is not very good. Warmind is better, but still not great. But Forsaken is great. So,
yeah.
Forsaken is like Destiny 2's Taken King, yeah?
yeah, but I still think the Taken King is better.
But no, I'm saying it's Destiny 2's Taken King.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, so that's what I've been playing. I'm excited. I'm gearing up. I got Children of Morta is in the chamber. Pre-ordered it. It's downloaded. It's ready to rock and roll at midnight tonight. I might stay up and play it, but it's gotten like really good reviews because I think it was out on PC like earlier this month, and then like consoles was like a later release. So it came out on Steam like maybe October 5th. I want to say like early October. So now it's like launching on all consoles. As far as I know, all consoles. The consoles that I care about, Switch and PS4, it's definitely out on. I'm not sure about Xbox. But anyways, so check it out. Game looks awesome. It's a roguelike. And the story is non-linear. So it's like it's like interesting how they're going to tell a complex story in a roguelike. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm excited.
Metacritic of 82.
That's a pretty good rating. It's a pretty good rating. And I think that's their first game. That's the first game. But anyways, that's what I've been playing. Matt, how about you?
I started and finished Sayonara Wild Hearts last week.
Ooh. Now I've seen this game. Is it as poppy as it seems?
Oh God, yes. This game. I understand the praise and the negative stuff around this game because everything you've seen up to this point doesn't really tell you what it is, and I don't really know how well I can explain it. But this is it is a rhythm game essentially, but it's not like button prompt rhythm games. It's sort of like it's kind of a runner where you're basically going down. You're going down a tube. It's all like Tempest in a way, but it has very good art. Lots of pinks, lots of purples, but it's all presented as kind of a pop album about a woman getting over a breakup.
Sounds like it could be fun.
I think it's $15 on PS4, Switch. I don't know what it is on Steam. It's on Apple Arcade. You could sit down and play this game and finish it in like an hour and a half. I think I really like the story. I really like the presentation of it. It uses tarot cards in a really cool way. It kind of delves into the meaning behind those, which a lot of people don't really understand. I don't understand them either, but like in playing like The Binding of Isaac, like I developed a familiarity with it, and I did my own bits of research while looking at that, just because I found it fascinating. The music in this game is top goddamn notch, but if you kind of have to be okay with dance pop, because that's really what it is. I mean, think of like Carly Rae Jepsen or Robin or even ABBA to a degree. Like a lot of that, it's a lot of it's there. I don't think it's as warm sounding as ABBA, but I do like the fact that some people are comparing it to Rez, and as someone on as someone who really liked Rez and really likes this, like it's an apt comparison. But I can also see why some people are saying this is my Rez because I didn't really like Rez. And I also like the fact that some people have referred to it as Carly Rez Jepsen. I am totally here for that. But this is a cool game. It is a good story. It's narrated by Queen Goddamn Latifah of all people, which is just like, all right. Like, and everything is presented with love and care and attention, and it's all executed very, very well. And I love the fact that it's the people that did Device 6 and Year Walk years ago on iOS, making a game that fits on all platforms and uses all of them to a very good degree now. And when I first saw trailers of this, I was like, I want to play that game based on its look because it's got a style to it. When I started hearing people talk about it as like a cyberpunk rhythm game, I'm like, all right, cyberpunk is becoming like a goddamn buzzword at this point.
Well, yeah, because of
well, yes, but also like it just seems like it's like it's becoming like it seems like a lot of games are using that aesthetic, even though it doesn't really feel like what. Right. Like it doesn't really feel like Deus Ex or even Cyberpunk or even The Surge. It doesn't.
Shadowrun.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like any of that. They're just sort of using that. I mean, it's almost like you know, if you lose all your currency, everyone wants to call you a Souls-like.
A valid point too.
And I don't think my issue with that is a criticism of the game at all. But having sat down and played it, like I immediately fell in love with this game, and it is immediately one of the best games I've played all year. I don't expect everyone here to have that reaction, but if you have an extra $15 or it goes on sale for less, play it. It's worth your time. I
mean, you could also use your free month of Apple Arcade to play it too.
That too.
If you had an Apple device.
Womp womp.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, you know, that's like saying, oh, you could use Game Pass on Xbox to play it. It's like if you had a PC or an Xbox to play it on.
I'm not going to talk about Borderlands 3 too much. I did play more of it. I've basically gotten to the point where I'm completing. Like if I sit down, I'm basically completing a main mission, before I get actually bored of it. And that's only playing solo. Like when Moose and I played it, I'm like, okay, I'm having a good time now because there's something else. There's something more interesting for me to interact with rather than characters in this game. But also like that gameplay loop is still really good. I mean, shooting stuff in games like, huh?
I was going to say it's nice hearing the legendary ding.
It is. It really is. Jason and I finished basically 100%ing Remnant. I haven't actually gone and got the platinum yet. I'm waiting to make that a milestone platinum. But I know each of us basically has every weapon, every piece of equipment that game has to offer. And I will say this: that game was fun to do that in.
Nice.
Each individual weapon you get and all of the mods and when you start getting boss weapons, like all of that it's all creatively designed. It's all fun, and I really hope Gunfire Games does a lot more with either this formula or even this game. I know they added to the first world they added another like offshoot territory called Lito's Laboratory, which all of that comes up randomly. And Lito's Lab is a really creatively designed thing. I won't really go into it here just because it becomes me having to explain way more than we have time for. But this game is really fun, and I think if you like third-person shooters, not necessarily cover shooters like The Division or Gears, but definitely if you like Destiny, you should check it out. I don't think the shooting mechanics are as good as Bungie does, because what is, but they are very, very close. I think the weapon design is some of the more creative weapon design this side of Ratchet and Clank, and this game it's really, really fun. I mean, the story, whatever, it's not that great of a story, but if it's fun to play, story doesn't matter. And it's not nearly as intrusive as, say, Borderlands. Also, I, as Moose mentioned, played Castle Crashers with my wife, and I. That's always a good time. I jumped back into River City Girls.
Nice.
And I've beaten, I think, 5 bosses in that game. That is probably the modern S tier of side-scrolling beat-em-ups. I think that it evolves from the Scott Pilgrim game from last gen really well, in both being difficult and a steady tick of like, you level up, you get something, you learn a new move, you gain a little bit of power. Like I never really feel, I always feel a little bit outgunned, but I never feel like it's unfair. The boss fights in it are actually really fun. They're really fun to figure out, and I think they're presented well. This game is written in a really good way. It has a really fantastic style about it, and the soundtrack is amazing. All under the guise of, hey, anime girls gonna save their boyfriends. It's a good time. And then I think that's it.
Boss, it is a good time.
Pardon me?
I said I beat the first boss. It is a good time.
Yeah, I think I love the way I love the way the boss fights are introed. Because they do that Borderlands thing where the character shows up and you get like a big title card with them on it. Then they have well presented dialogue back and forth. Like the dialogue is written really well. Way Forward are really good at making games, and they should really make a lot more of them.
I think there's definitely a learning curve with the game.
Oh, definitely.
As far as like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, you just got to get used to like reaction times and button pressings and all that stuff.
Oh, and learn to,
because I had the same issue with Blasphemous. Mm-hmm. But once you do, I'm like, it's a good time.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't remember. I don't think I played anything else.
So you talked about Apple Arcade. Quick question: is that something that you or Corey would be into to try? Because that Bleak Sword looks freaking phenomenal, and then that game I linked in our Discord looks really good too.
I'm waiting to upgrade my phone before I try any of that. To be 100% honest, because I am in dire need of one.
Yeah, I am too. And plus, like there's a rumor out there that if you get a new phone, supposedly you get an Apple Arcade for a year for free or something.
Oh, that's nice.
And there's that.
I've heard that rumor out there somewhere. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard it on a couple podcasts I was listening to. So,
well, that's definitely a reason for you both to wait to try and nab it.
Exactly.
So,
and
cool.
at which point I will definitely talk about games that I play on that service.
Cool. Okay. Cool.
But yeah, and if you have Apple Arcade, play Sayonara Wild Hearts. It's really good.
Just so you guys know, something went wrong with the stream. We're still recording, but the stream is
dead.
For now.
Okay.
I'm going to try to get it back up and running, but audio listeners, nothing changed for you. Sorry. Continue.
That's okay. We'll just keep on trucking.
I don't know why we're apologizing to the audio listeners who actually have
Well, I mean, we interrupted the show, but
Oh, that's true. That
We
is
interrupt
a
your
valid
regularly
point.
scheduled program to
A
tell
valid
you about our
point.
problems.
to continue your regularly scheduled audio program.
All right. So that's gaming.
That's game time. Before we go into questions, I want to talk about what Steam did this week.
Uh-oh.
No, they did something good.
Oh.
They brought out a feature called Remote Play Together. And this is where, if you have a game that only has local co-op, they enabled it to be streamed so you can play it online with a friend.
Ooh.
Which that makes me happy. I hope it works really, really well. And I think
PlayStation does that also.
they do share play, and it's only for like an hour.
Yeah.
Like you can't like, and both people have to have already bought the game. And I don't think it works with everything. But I immediately thought of like a game like River City Girls, where there's no online co-op, but it'd be cool to play online co-op with a friend. Because I mean, granted, I would like to get that platinum trophy. I don't think I will, because you have to beat it in co-op. And Reba has already said, yeah, I don't want to play that, which is fine. But I think that the idea of playing Salt and Sanctuary online with a friend is a good idea. The idea of playing River City Girls or any other local co-op only games, Gang Beasts, Heave Ho on Switch, but I think that's also on PC as well. I think it's also on Steam. But like playing those games online is a good thing, rather than emphasizing, hey, you have to get people to come over to your house, because not everybody has that. Like I have several friends outside of this show that just don't want to play games, which is fine. I really like that idea, and I hope A, Steam, make it work well. B, console makers, take a look at this. Might be something you want to think about next gen.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Switch doesn't really do this directly, but with the NES and SNES games, they have the pass the controller kind of mode thing, and that's how Ed and I have been playing A Link to the Past.
You've been playing it online that way?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been trying, at least. You know, it's not 100%. It's Nintendo Online. I mean, you can just kind of go from there. What you expect from that?
Back to that. What if it just works thing?
Yeah. But I mean, it's been working pretty well, though. We played Double Dragon that way. We played Mario Kart that way. We played a couple of co-op games that way, and it works well enough to it. I mean, if you're gonna play competitively, yeah. I mean, what are you playing competitively on Super Nintendo? But you know what I mean. Like, if you're gonna take it seriously, it might not be the way to do
a
it.
game called Smash Brothers.
But like, just messing around and playing F-Zero is not a game you really want to do that way.
Probably not.
But it's still a good time. It was still fun.
All right, well, that's cool. But like, hey, it's something for the next gen to look at. It's another thing for next gen to look at if we're not already expecting too much from them already.
Yeah.
So now we can go to questions. We've only got 2 this week. Leading off, I believe, is
by the way, I want to say something real quick to the people who have been emailing us questions. Can I have Call of Duty Modern Warfare is not a question for the show.
I mean, it's a question. We're just not going to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
That's true.
No, it's not a question.
I mean,
you
could just quote Lock, Stock, 2 Smoky Barrels. You can have it with a solid gold Rolls Royce as long as you pay for it.
Sure.
Exactly.
There you go. Hendrix Pasternak leads us off this week. As you probably know, Blizzard has been in the news for some controversial reasons lately. What are your thoughts on the situation, and what do you think should happen? Are you all part of the internet's boycott Blizzard trend? Thanks, and always loving the show. I'm going to preface this. Moose Phillips and I had a very heated discussion, and I'm pretty sure Moose is exhausted with it, as you could tell by his groaning.
Oh boy.
So, Corey, I'm going to let you talk.
I don't want to go first.
You don't. Okay, fine.
No, I will.
I can go first.
I think the resolution between our thing is like I thought it was shitty, and Moose and Phillips thought
so.
But
So we talked a little bit about this on Nintendo Power Block when we recorded on Tuesday when it was first happening, and like Power Block goes up on Saturdays, but we had to switch our recording stuff around. So apologies to those people who listen to Power Block, because I said, it'll be a thing for like a day, and it'll blow over. It won't be a big deal. Somebody will get mad, but oh boy, I was wrong.
you undersold that one.
To be fair, I didn't really know everything that had happened at that point, and I was just like, oh, someone in Blizzard got mad because China gives them money and someone insulted China, so oh boy. I don't think I know that's not really what happened, but in my mind that's the extent of what happened, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was like, oh, they fired people over this that didn't really do anything. Oh, they are they're really yeah. I mean, part of me is like, I get it. China is a huge marketplace of business, and these companies want to thrive in China, and I watched the most recent South Park episode. Well, not the most recent, but the Banned in China South Park episode, and they banned South Park in China. I was like, yeah, I guess if you're trying to do business in China, you don't want to do one of these things. And then this happens, and then my mind immediately went, well, if they're a business that's 5% of them is owned by a Chinese company, they probably want to do well in the Chinese market with their free-to-play stuff and Overwatch and, those kinds of things. Call of Duty
about to release a Call of Duty game there.
Call of Duty Mobile is coming out. Like, you probably don't want to upset the Chinese audience because they're going to bring you a bunch of cash. And
let's be fair, the Chinese audience is probably not what they're going to be upsetting by this.
Yeah.
The Chinese government.
I know, but the government is kind of like...
Yeah, no, I know.
You need to...
It's this nebulous thing that none of us are experts in.
So, I mean, on that side, like, I'm not saying it's right, but I get it. But at the same time, it's like, you gotta... and I know it's not all of Blizzard. I know a lot of the employees are planning or something about a walkout to protest too, and some American team forfeited a match because they didn't get the same punishment the other kid did when they protested. Yep. That kind of thing. Like, I know that stuff's been going on, but it's like, you gotta. I think some of these companies, and to be fair, Activision has always been like, hey, we're going to be about the money no matter what. Like, they've been very open about that, and I know Blizzard kind of falls under that umbrella, but I feel like even though Activision Blizzard is one company, I think people view Blizzard a little bit differently than Activision, especially from their back catalog and just the way they have seemingly treated fans in the past and that kind of thing, but this has pushed them back over to the Activision side, and people are just angry.
Yeah.
And like, from a business side, I kind of get it, but at the same time, when your motto when you walk in the front door is every player matters,
every voice matters.
Yeah. It's like, this was probably not the smartest thing to do at this point, especially with them being a company that started in America and the way that America is right now, just on a political and a politically correctness standpoint. Like, they probably should have just thought this through before they did anything and had a statement prepared. At the very least, when they did this,
firing from the hip.
Yeah. So, But that's my take on it. I mean, I know they since then they reduced the ban and gave him his winnings back, I think.
Yes,
but
they gave him his winnings as far as I know because he didn't make the statements during the match.
Yeah.
So the match was already like ruled. He won.
Yeah, it was a completely separate stream where this happened.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It was something completely separate. So they at least gave him his winnings back, and I don't know how much they lightened the ban.
6 months.
The ban 6 months instead of what was the year, I think originally. So they halved it. So they halved it. Okay.
But
and
that's
instead of out and out firing the casters, I think all of them are banned for 6 months as well.
You mean the interviewers?
Yes.
Okay, so the 2 interviewers that ducked.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
which, to be fair, I don't really think that's fair to get fired for just doing your job either.
I don't. Well,
I mean,
I think that it's a tricky thing because like I know that like I said this was bullshit and then everyone said, well, it's their job to keep the thing moving. But like if Moose is interviewing me for something and I just say free Hong Kong liberation revolution of our age and that's done, I feel like if he were to, ask me about that, then
that's on me.
Yes.
But they had like he had the mask on and they were talking to him before he said his statement. So they had all the time in the world to be like, cut this right now.
Yeah.
They had time to, now I'm not saying that it's a slippery slope. Okay.
I mean, it's a difficult thing to do right.
It's shit on both sides. Okay. Yes. Like it's a tough situation because it's a problem because Blizzard is like we're all about the money, and it's like what is their relationship with China and that market and all that. I feel like people are looking at it too much from like the Blizzard standpoint. I mean, from the Activision standpoint, and not enough from like the Blizzard standpoint. Because like if you look at China, like they're extremely controlled, their entertainment is controlled and all that, and I feel. It might not be a large percentage, but there's a certain percentage of Blizzard that wants to at least bring entertainment to China so that people can somewhat be fucking happy about their life, And so you have an incident like this where, yes, they had a knee-jerk reaction and they fired from the hip. So that, number one, I will agree with you, Matt, that their clause is flawed. So it needs to be a little bit more defined. Okay, so number one, there's that. Okay, we can agree on that. Number two, although I will say he signed a contract. So that's like me when I worked at Lowe's headquarters and I signed paperwork saying I was going to work there and conduct myself a certain way. Okay, now in America, we've got the concealed carry law. I can conceal carry as long as I have my permit, but I can't carry on their property. So
and there's you can't carry in every state, yes?
Yeah, no, it's not every state.
Yeah,
so that infringes upon my right to bear arms. But I understand that because I signed that paperwork to work for that company. So this kid, and there's the other thing. He's a kid. Okay? Did not, he should understand that I'm supposed to behave in a certain way. Now we talk about infringing upon freedom of speech. Was he arrested?
No.
Was he tried?
No.
Was he sentenced to serve time in jail?
No.
So he had freedom of speech. He just didn't have freedom of consequence. He signed a contract. He was supposed to conduct himself in a certain. Now, granted, we agreed it's a slippery slope, and that clause is trash, and I agree with that. And I think. If Blizzard, this is my thing. If Blizzard really wanted to come out and do something really good for the people and say, you know what, like we really screwed up, rewrite that clause.
Yeah. And
have everybody just re-sign their paperwork. I know it's going to be some crazy paperwork for people to do, but just do it so that it clarifies it. There's a certain level of clarity there for everybody that is signing that paperwork so that they can't just shit on you in a heartbeat without them being able to point to something specific and you actually going, oh no, actually I did fuck up. Okay. So and he admitted to it. He said he
Sure.
should, he said he should have been, more thoughtful about the situation. And so I think it's like an issue on both sides.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it didn't have to deal with like freedom of speech and rights, China's going through this whole like revolution type thing. It was a situation where it was America, and like we talked about the hockey player who made the statement about the other hockey player, and I hope he's enjoying his sloppy seconds.
Right.
And he got suspended.
Which is even worse.
You're supposed to. You sign a contract, supposed to be conducting yourself in a certain way, and you don't do that. You're punished. You have the freedom. He had the freedom to say what he said.
Yeah.
He did not go to jail for it.
Sure.
But he was not free of consequence. And that, I think, is the situation here. And so I personally feel the kid has learned something.
Yep.
So he should just take the next 6 months, really figure out what he wants to do. Is this a platform I want to be part of that's going to restrict what I want to say whenever I want to say, and maybe get out of it. Maybe decide, you know what? Because I don't think they weren't punishing people that were saying stuff off stream.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think Blizzard has a right to protect what is being said during their streams. They have a right to handle that and to protect that and make sure that, stuff doesn't go sideways. Because in all honesty, I mean, like, I made the reference to movie stars. I don't fucking care what your political opinion is. Entertain me. Make your movie. Shut the hell up. Like that's all I want from you. Okay. So, and it's not like those guys making like millions and millions of dollars would even know what the guy on the bottom rung is doing.
Are you not entertained?
Now, see, my big thing here is, and this is the one part of it that that eventually Moose and I sort of came. We had like, oh wait a minute, you're just saying that moment. Like I was just saying this is shitty, and I think it's being handled in a shitty manner.
Well, yes.
And Moose and Phillips were like, well, they were within their rights, and I'm like, I'm not saying they're not within their rights. I think, like as Moose said, I think the clause is, I think it's a stretch because it specifically says if it brings, I don't remember if it says the player and the company or just the player or whatever, but it mentions public disrepute. Now, then, and this is why contracts are fucking weird, because then it becomes the definition. You have to define everything. And public disrepute usually means if people are publicly reacting to this, and they
caused the public reaction.
Yeah, like they caused the public reaction at this point. They brought the public disrepute onto themselves through this, because let's examine the scope of this. This is a minor tournament for Hearthstone. It wasn't the international. It wasn't, the championship finals of EVO. It wasn't the World Cup. It wasn't the Super Bowl. This kid says this and nobody reacts. Like, I'm not delusional enough to think that this aids Hong Kong in any way, and I'm not delusional enough to think that this hurts China. I'm also not delusional enough to think that this hurts anybody's bottom line if Activision Blizzard does not react. Because, yes, you could say, well, it's on the internet, so it's visible. Right, but that doesn't mean everybody's looking.
Not everybody has the internet.
Exactly. So my thing is, like, I think this is a clear, like, you have to pick your battles moment.
Mm-hmm. They picked, I agree with you. They picked wrong. They should have just cut the feed and issued a statement that said, or maybe see what happened, see what the reaction was, or they could even just send something out to their interests, their invested interests, and say, we do not share the opinion of this person. It was out of our control during a stream. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, I bet you the freaking Chinese government wasn't even looking at that and was like, man, they need to do something about that. You know what I mean?
Like, I mean, I think at this point you watch it and you see, I don't even like, because here's the thing, I've not watched the clip, I've not done any research into this, and I am just as flawed on this. Yeah, I am just as flawed on this as anybody talking about it. But I know that, like, I think that that if you want to if you want to really understand the Blizzard's reaction to this, I think you have to go watch the whole interview and see how the casters handled it afterwards. Because if they just kept their heads underneath and let this kid keep going for like minutes at a time,
yes,
that's a different thing. Rather than if they pop their heads back up after he says "Revolution of Our Age" and said, "Okay, so about Hearthstone." You know, then it becomes a different discussion, because if they just try and bring it back to Hearthstone without that, okay, fine. Also, like, if you want to look at the swiftness of Blizzard's reaction and like getting involved in trying to be successful in China, like monetarily, I don't expect a corporation to look for the best interests of the people. I don't.
They never do. And
you know, and it's been even worse since I don't remember when this legislation took hold in America, but like once they declared corporations like actual citizens, that is when, you know, it becomes that's when capitalism becomes less fettered. So, like, now that corporations are people, they don't have to think about everybody they serve. They just have to think about themselves, which is why you've seen more outsourcing since then. You've seen more layoffs. You've seen more let's screw the little guy from corporations ever since that. Also, like, look at the human rights abusing Chinese government. You know, there's all the shit that they've done over the years, and like, oh yeah, but we want their money, so we have to look past all that. It becomes a very, very tricky thing to just examine the problem, whether or not you deal with it or not. But my whole thing is I think this is shitty. I think it sucks, and I think if Blizzard doesn't react, we are not talking about it. And I say we as the game industry as a whole. I mean, even though I'm not really in the game industry because I'm an X-ray tech, what the hell do I know? But this happens, and nobody notices if Blizzard doesn't react. Because Blizzard reacted, they brought the public disrepute on themselves. And, you know, there's been talk about BlizzCon, which comes up in, 2 weeks now?
Yeah,
I think you're right.
There's probably going. I mean, the Blizzard, as far as I know, Mei from Overwatch has become like, they've been using her as sort of a symbol for protest, which I think is cool. Fan art's a good thing, but yeah. the Blizzard Reddit doesn't like it very much. They keep shutting that shit down. So BlizzCon's going to be interesting. I wonder how many protesting Meis they're going to have cosplaying there. And I wonder how many people they're going to have escorted out.
Yeah.
And I also want people to be, I mean, like, with getting back to the freedom of speech thing, be wary about the senators you see tweeting about this, because they are just as hypocritical as everybody else involved in this. Like, I think, like Rubio, and I don't remember the other guy. I think it's Wadeen. I think that's how you say his name. Or Wyden.
Funny, you know, I mean, it's
but
funny.
They are also people that want to get rid of the Voting Rights Act, which is fucking shitty. It's like, ugh. This is too much. This is too much for my brain. It's too stressful.
That's why I'm voting for Plague as the president of 2020 and the Genophage as the vice president. So we're going to clear out the populace.
I mean, but that's like all of us, though.
No. Plague's only like 2/3, and the Genophage stops us from repopulating. So there'll be 1/3 of the population left. We'll be good.
Okay.
We'll be fine.
I mean,
put a cup on, you'll be fine.
Like, what's really funny is like all the people that are like ban Blizzard, like boycotting Blizzard, and it's like, okay, where was your phone made?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's
yeah,
the computer you're chatting on?
Yeah, and taking that tact is just as fucking slippery because, like, oh, Blizzard's involved with China. Well, guess what?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
everything you fucking own is involved with China.
I mean, even. I mean, and I'm gonna say this as Matthew Keel, not a host of Nerds Gone Rogue, but even you MAGA hat wearing assholes, guess where your hats were made?
China.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't have one. I'm just saying.
I'm just. Yeah, exactly. But like, yeah, like.
I'm not answering that as one of them. I'm just
right. No, yeah. Oh boy. And you know, fucking.
Anyways, we're getting on a political rant, so let's move on to the next question.
It's a weird intersection where video games and politics have collided in ways that even the ardent, I don't want my politics in my video games, have to grapple with and be and
they couldn't grapple with because they can't even figure out the puzzles of Super Mario Brothers. So.
That's true. That's some of those. Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm just sleeping now.
It's
a lot of beer.
So where were we? Video games.
In our next question.
I'm going to move on to our next question. I hope Hendrix.
That was a very civil discussion. That could have went south.
Yeah,
real fast, and I think the two of us handled it really well.
I think Corey did it. I think Corey won this discussion. He didn't want to start, and I think he fucking won.
But what did I win?
I thought you and I were gonna be like you know, I thought it would have been.
Well, see, here's the thing though, like. And I know this is never ever going to happen, especially with like businesses and higher ups and greedy corporate whatever. But like, if everybody would just take a little bit of time to take a deep breath and think about just being better,
a human fucking being.
Yes.
Yeah, or better. Yeah, that works too.
Just like if everybody just added a 10% extra of being better than what they are now, like imagine how much better everything would be, right? Like just I think there's a lot of and you guys know how I feel about being political on shows and stuff. Like I usually let you guys take care of that while I just kind of listen. But like,
and to be fair, we should probably shut our mouths. I'm not.
I don't care.
Exactly.
But like, my thing is like. There's just being a human being and knowing what's like morally right and morally wrong and just taking that into consideration of everything, like just be a better person, you know. And I think that's like all it comes down to. And I think like even the Blizzard employees who are gonna, I don't know if they did it already, I haven't really been paying attention, but staging a walkout to protest or like actions speak louder than words. And you know, if you can just be a little bit better than you were the day before, like, and you know, I'm not standing on a soapbox, as I know I have done things in the past that I'm not exactly proud of either, right? Like probably said some things, probably treated people badly, like, you know what I mean? Like those things definitely happen, but like you learn, you grow, you surround yourself with better people and like just be better people, you know?
Yes, I agree with that 110%. And then so it's like if we were talking about business corporations not looking out or whatever, but it's like my number one advice to like anyone young who's like looking to do something like competitive like this kid was, make sure you read your contract. Make sure if you don't understand it, get a lawyer that helps you understand it, you know? Because like that might be the thing. They're just signing these kids up. They're putting a piece of paper in front of them. They might be 18 years old. You know, they're old enough. They're not a minor anymore. They don't need a parent. And that might be what they're targeting.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know that, you know, and they target those kids, and those kids sign he might have signed his life away and he didn't know it. You know what I mean? It's, you know, it's like the record label industry. And so it's just like, just look out, because the number one lie in the world is that anyone is looking out for you. You need to look out for yourself. I mean, maybe the only people looking out for your parents until they, you know, until
I mean, in some
like,
cases that might not always be true too.
Yeah, exactly. So. They're stealing all your money, but
I mean,
like, you don't want to approach it where you're suspect of them, but it's like you got to look out for your own, because nobody else is going to do it. So that's my advice, and the end to that. But yes, also try and be a better person. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
You know, just don't be a dick. So.
I'd like to launch my platform, Free Hong Kong Revolution of Our Age, though. I'm still with that.
I don't know who you are.
So let's move on.
Yes.
Before we dig ourselves into any more holes, or
dude, we're trapped in the giant hole of just sadness.
We gotta dig up.
Together, though.
Ashley Davidson is going to help us dig up.
Oh boy!
All right, Ashley Davidson.
PlayStation 5 has officially been announced. Not only is it called the PlayStation 5, and Jim Ryan was so happy to be able to say that, but it's coming out holiday 2020, giving everybody in the video game press industry the 100% right to pat themselves on the back, because it was the most unhidden secret in the history of anything.
Ever.
I just hope it doesn't look like those dev kit images that have been popping up around.
You know what it's going to look like? It's going to look like a goddamn box.
Dude, if it looks like that stupid V thing that the dev kits they're saying are looking like, I refuse to buy one. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'll tell you what. You know what I want it to look like? That shark that Lee posted in Phoenix Overdrive Nation, that shark-looking PC. Yeah, do that. Fucking go all out. So I pose the question to you. What games do you expect at launch? Do you think it will have anything to match Halo Infinite?
Well, to be fair, Halo Infinite is also coming to Xbox One. So.
Well, I think that's her. I think that's what
I know.
What she's
I think.
for.
I mean, on that side of things, so I'm thinking Xbox wants Halo Infinite to be their Breath of the Wild, and kind of people buy the Xbox for Halo Infinite and kind of forget that the Xbox One version exists.
Right.
But anyways, I think Sony's going to try something different. Guerrilla has been rumored to be working on another first-person shooter because they hired some of the guys who started out on Rainbow Six Siege. So
what if it was Killzone Light Rise,
which
is the opposite of Shadowfall?
I think it's going to be a Killzone game, and I think it's going to be a multiplayer game, and I think it's going to be Rainbow Six-esque.
Glad you like that one, Moose.
I'm sorry, Corey. It was stupid. It was so stupid.
I just ignored it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay. Thank you.
It was good dad joke material, Corey. Just saying.
I say the dad jokes around here.
He should only be the one. He should be the one.
You're the biggest PlayStation enthusiast here. What do you think about this question?
So,
Knack
if we're gonna talk about what games are coming at launch, obviously you're gonna have the third party games. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have those games that are kind of like Corey was saying, they're gonna straddle the generations. It'll be on PS4, but it'll also be on PS5 because it's backwards compatible. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling. I don't have a feeling. I know for sure Last of Us 2 will have launched at this time, so there will be a patch. You'll get a graphics an enhanced patch.
Let me ask you this: do you think people are Do you think PlayStation is going to try to ride third-party support and expect people to say, like, you bought Last of Us Part 2 on PS4, when you get a PlayStation 5, you're going to get a PlayStation Pro-esque patch for it? Or do you think that's the thing too, though, is like, are they going to sell PlayStation 5 versions of The Last of Us, or is it just like one ecosystem now where like you bought The Last of Us Part 2? It's going to be like PC almost.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one ecosystem where it'll be if I buy The Last of Us 2 in February, when I buy a PlayStation 5, like, yeah, there'll be that patch there that it can run better, kind of like the Pro patch.
Yeah.
But it, like people that have PS4, they don't have to download that patch.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to worry about it. So I think Ghost of Tsushima they have stated that it will be on the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's gonna be, so there will probably be a patch for that.
Yeah.
And then,
because like the way that Xbox,
if a patch is even needed,
the way that Xbox One X does it is like it asks, like, when you plug in your Xbox One X, like, it asks you, like, do you want the Xbox One or the Xbox One X version of this game before you download it? And like, you go through your options and you can just have it automatically download the Xbox One X version of the game if it's available, right? And like, if you have an X, why wouldn't you? But you can also do that on the S, and like, it'll download the Xbox One X version. So if you upgrade, it'll be, and you have it on an external drive, you just plug your drive in to the X and it'll be like, oh, I see you have the Xbox One X version, whatever. So,
which is interesting because the PS4 Pro just downloads the game.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I think Bluepoint is rumored to be doing their game. They mentioned that. They talked about that. So Bluepoint's game I think that'll be a launch title.
Yeah,
I'm hoping. Like a gazillion people are hoping it's Demon's Souls, but we'll see what happens.
I feel like that's becoming less and less likely, though, too.
But in all honesty, if it doesn't, I'm not going to be upset because I'm setting low expectations. They've done some really good work.
Yeah,
they did great work with the Nathan Drake collection. They did great work with the Gravity Rush remastered. They did great work with Shadow of the Colossus. So, in all honesty, it's just basically rumors what they're making. So if you build upon that, that's your own fucking fault because you're building a house of cards on a foundation that's not sound. So that's your own fault. So if it happens, I'm going to freaking, my wife is going to yell at me because I'm going to be screaming my head off as soon as it's announced if I'm at home and it's like an event on a, they're like, hey, it's the PlayStation 5 event. Here's what's coming. And I'm watching it at 9 o'clock at night and I'm screaming my head off because Demon's Souls is coming. But anyways.
I hope Bluepoint's remaking The Bouncer.
Oh my God, I'd punch him in the face. But anyways, I feel you're right. Like, so.
Jokes, everybody.
What was it? 2017 was Horizon Zero Dawn?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2017. So next year will be 3 years. I still think that's a little early for a sequel, even although they could reuse a lot of assets, and it's not going to be a huge leap. So maybe they could put out a new one at launch and then have a wave like Horizon Zero Dawn 3 at the end of the cycle. You know what I mean? Like the PlayStation 5 cycle. I know Sucker Punch is doing Ghost of Tsushima, but, they could possibly have something going on. What's Studio Japan doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are they working on? So, we were talking about this, and a lot of people asked me the question, like, would I still want a Bloodborne 2 if it was just Studio Japan working on it and not FromSoft? And I don't know. It's a mixed bag for me. Because, like, they worked on Bloodborne with FromSoft, and maybe Miyazaki's just handing it off while he's doing Elder Ring, but it also could be a thing where, hey, he's working on both right now, he's working on Elder Ring, but he's basically taken on Studio Japan as his second From Software developers. You know what I'm saying? Like he could have done that. like he has been stated in recent interviews saying he's like, it's not up to us if Bloodborne 2 happens. He's like, that's Sony's call.
Yeah.
He's like,
Sony
they need to
owns that
come.
IP.
They own that IP. They need to come knocking on our door if they want us to make it. And that's not saying that they haven't, and that's not saying that anything's in development. He's just trying to clear it up for the fans to say, it's not me.
Mhm.
It's not. Don't be mad at me because I'm over here making Sekiro or made Sekiro, and now I'm making Elder Ring. Like, don't be mad at me.
Miyazaki's like, I am president of FromSoft, not Sony.
Yeah, I'm just doing my thing, man.
I gotta look after my own company here.
Right. So, perhaps dude, wouldn't it be crazy if Sony locked up the Armored Core, the one that's been rumored to be in development, and launched that as a launch title?
That would be cool.
That would be like to counter Daemon X Machina, to be like, no, here's a fucking legit mech game.
That's a bit reductive, but
it's just shots fired.
Sure.
Anyways.
Yeah.
But, I think
There's God Platinum is coming out. It's fine.
Exactly. I think a bunch of indies. I think Sony is going to circle back around like they did. So, like at the launch of the PS4, what really got me going about a PS4 was all the indies that they had lined up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, this looks amazing, because I was deep into the indies at the end of the 360 cycle, and then we've talked about it, but what Microsoft did made me switch, and then also their indies, and then like their first party games like coming back to Sony. But I think they'll have a bunch of indie titles lined up that are like exclusive for a while, and I think that'll be awesome. I'm sure 2 or 3 of them are going to be Devolver Digital because they just rock the damn house.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, what if they actually launch Dreams as a launch title? I mean, I know it's in beta right now, but what if they finalize it and they're like, here, it's on PS5 and PS4. Here's what you can.
What if they made Dreams the first PlayStation Plus title for PlayStation 5?
I mean, that would be awesome. What if they came out and they said, here it is, and as a demo, like as a free level, here's the first stage of Metal Gear Solid, recreate it, and you could, you know what I mean, like, or whatever. Like they'd have to beat Konami. Well, I don't know what they'd have to do. They'd have to get something going with that, but it would be interesting to see what they would do with Dreams. Hopefully it doesn't die off like that what was it, the Tomorrow Children or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that game.
Was that wasn't Media Molecule, was it?
No, I'm not saying it was them. I'm just saying I hope like the
I didn't remember who developed that.
I don't know who did either, but I'm just saying I hope it doesn't die out in the fashion of that game, because that game was in like beta for a while and then they just fucking killed it. And then hey, can we ask a question? Where is the non-competitive mode of Fortnite? I don't even know where the heck is that even out?
Yeah,
well,
there's trophies for it.
Even Fortnite's not out yet, technically. Battle Royale.
It's just Battle Royales. Yeah. So
Fortnite Save the World is out.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
it's my bad.
It's out. It's $30.
Yeah, it's $30, and there's a platinum trophy for it. And,
I heard it's actually a pretty decent game if you actually play it.
And I think according to the guide, it'll take you 700 hours to platinum it. So get started, Moose.
Okay.
Yep.
What about another Order 18?
Order 1887, if that was like a launch title. Oh my gosh, dude,
that'd be cool.
Okay,
because that's People Can Fly, right?
No, that was Ready at Dawn.
Ready at Dawn. I keep mixing those two up. People Can Fly did the Gears Judgment, didn't they? Yeah. And they also didn't do the.
They did Bulletstorm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I keep mixing those two up.
They also did something pretty recently too, but I don't remember what it was.
Like that's the excitement.
Like, I feel like they could do though. I mean, I know Sony owns the IP, but like if Ready at Dawn like kind of signed off on it and let People Can Fly make a proper third-person shooter for the Order. That'd be awesome. Like a co-op third-person shooter.
I feel like they could do it themselves. Like I thought it wasn't that bad of a game. Like I ain't gonna say it's like a 10 out of fucking 10.
Well, I mean,
But,
a lot.
like,
It was
I'm
a
gonna
really
interrupt you.
fun 7.
I'm going to interrupt you here. Like, we have to remember most things in this industry are driven by reaction.
No.
And I mean, like, look at the Blizzard thing we just got done talking about. That reaction doesn't happen. No, we're not talking about it today. Someone posted on a forum that the order it took them like 6 hours to beat, and people were pissed. They're like, what am I paying $60 for? And like, it's just like, come on. And people let that drive the conversation. No one wanted the order to be a good game anymore.
I have my
That's
Galahad
but
statue up there.
$10. That's $10 an hour. You pay more than that for a fucking movie.
Right, but
Sure.
if you want to, if time per dollar is your metrics for value,
I'm just
yeah, no, it's fine. You're I mean,
But see, like then this it gets into the whole thing of like, well, you pre-ordered that
yeah,
yourself.
uh-huh.
You didn't wait for any reviews. Like it's like you get yourself and you get your own self in these situations, and then you want to fucking bitch about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like, shut up. Like you
Yep.
beat it in 6 hours, and you're gonna sit there and complain about it. Well, you didn't wait for a review that said this is an extremely short game, and say, you know what? I'll wait for a sale. Like I waited for a sale. I got it for fucking $10, and it's an amazing game for $10.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
look, I pre-ordered Death Goddamn Stranding.
We're gonna have a good time with that one.
If that game is fucked, like, I am 100% out $60, and
You bought the
But-
console too.
yeah.
The Pro.
I hope a baby crawls out of that console and gives you a thumbs up.
If that happens, I will no longer be hosting Nerd Gone Rogue. I will be in a mental institution dealing with my PTSD.
Actually, if that game sucks, I hope a baby crawls out and gives you a thumbs down.
You missed it.
But see, like, I'm also like, if that game is bad, will I talk about it? Yes. Will I demand like the head of Kojima on a plate? No, because I'm the one that chose to waste my money.
Yes.
I made that choice. He didn't come out here and Solid Snake a gun to my head and say, buy my baby game.
Right,
No.
exactly.
Like,
Exactly. You made the choice. It's your
Yes.
own. Like, stop just blindly buying games,
yes.
being mad when there's shit. Like, do your research
Yeah.
and like wait. Like, what is the problem with waiting a day or two after it releases, seeing what the reviews say, and saying, "Oh no, I don't need to buy this game." Is it really that big? I now I understand being part of the zeitgeist.
Yes.
You know, like you're playing like God of War. Like when God of War came out, you know, it was really cool being part of that, and like me, Jeff, and Jason playing it, you know, and talking about it and having a good time with it, and us talking about it in the groups and stuff. But a day or two is not going to fucking kill you.
No, it will
You know
not.
what I mean? Like a day or two to like decide. I don't need to like. I can. Oh wait, no, I don't want to buy this at full price.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, anyways, what's up, Court?
Oh, nothing. My wife walked in and we were having a discussion.
Oh, I was gonna say, is she yelling at you? 'Cause
No,
you get-
I said, I told her, I asked her if when I came to bed, I was like, "Do you want to snuggle?" And she's like, "No, don't touch me." The other night, I woke up, my chest felt really heavy, and it's because your big arm was on me, and I couldn't breathe.
That's like my wife. My wife is like, "Get the fuck away from me! You're too hot." Like I'm a furnace. Like
Yes.
I am a goddamn furnace, and she's like, "I am on fire." It has to be. It has to be like the dead of fucking winter for us to.
Yeah. So
The dead of winter is mating season in the cool household.
so sorry to interrupt the story with
I
that story.
didn't know Bruce made it in winter.
For Sharon.
Okay. All right. So back to the next gen. Taking all reactionary stuff out. Does PlayStation have anything that could compete with Halo Infinite? I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, I like Halo just as much as the next guy, but like those.
I don't know enough
hasn't
about
been up to.
like, Infinite
hasn't
could be
been
good.
what it was when Bungie was doing it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm in the minority thinking that Halo 4 is like one of the best Halo games, but Halo 5 is definitely not what they wanted it to be. So, you know, I don't know. They could come out with Killzone and it be awesome, and Halo could be subpar. But I also know I also know that they're like trying a new direction with Halo Infinite, and it's going to be more of a game as a service, which is not really what I want from Halo. But you know, it seems like it's going to be going that way, and it's going to be a living game for the Xbox, and I hope it does well. But you know, I honestly don't think Microsoft is trying to create the things that Sony is creating.
They're not.
Except I will say that Gears is trying at least, but at the same time, you know, I think Microsoft knows they don't have that, you know, library that Sony does, and I think for the most part, PlayStation gamers expect different things than Xbox gamers do out of their exclusives at this point.
Very true.
So
That's true. What about Sony Ben coming out with a Siphon Filter game?
well, the rumor is Sony.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, the rumor is Sony Ben's working on Uncharted.
Yeah, the next Uncharted
Ooh,
game.
that'd be interesting. I think they patented it, Siphon Filter, so people were expecting like a
Remaster.
I think they were just re-upping because Nintendo does that all the time, and they never have projects in the work. Like they just filed F-Zero and Metroid and Donkey Kong again, and like you know those games aren't coming anytime soon.
Yeah,
Right.
but I mean, it's also an issue of like, well, maybe they make it like Hitman, not like Hitman like gameplay, but like open world.
Yeah,
Like you were saying, like kind of like to match Infinite, where it's like, because like I feel I'm so tired of freaking games of services. Like I was talking to Jeff the other night. I'm like, dude, what are your thoughts on jumping back into Division 2? And he's like, I want to get around to it soon. I'm like, dude, I just want to jump in it, get the platinum, and fucking delete that game. Like
I mean,
I have no drive. I have no drive to do any of the raids. I have no drive to do any of the added stuff. Like I don't want to log in every day and be like, I need to be playing this game.
I mean that's why I got Control. That's why I preloaded the Outer Worlds this weekend. Like I'm like, even jumping back into Destiny. I'm like, this is fun, but like it just doesn't feel the same as like it used to. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Destiny, and when my friends are on, I'm going to be playing it. But like sometimes I'm just like, I want to play Control. I'm enjoying the campaign of Gears, right? That's not a game as a service. It's just a traditional campaign with a traditional multiplayer suite and a cool horde mode. And I'm like, I miss that from a lot of games, you know? And that's why I'm not as excited as I want to be for Halo Infinite, right? Is like, that's their big thing, is it's going to be an open world games as a service style game. And you're going to build out a Spartan, like you're going to go through Master Chief's story, but when it's over, you're going to build your Spartan out like similar to what you do in Destiny almost. And it's like, I don't want that from Halo.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost going down a path where it's just like I don't want to be like games of service. I just want a single player experience, like Borderlands 3. Like, granted, the story isn't the best on the planet, but like I can walk away from that and I can come back and I don't feel like I've been left behind.
Because Borderlands has like that true ending, you know, like you can go and beat the boss and like and like it has that end game that you're chasing guns and stuff if you want to, but like there's like an ending where like you know, as opposed to Destiny or the Division, it's like, oh, we're adding a new thing next week. Be prepared. You gotta blah 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 blah. I'm like,
yeah, you have to get your gear up to par and be ready for the story to continue. And it's like, just put it in a new game. Just wait and put it in a new game. Let me go play other things. And it's like they want to keep like them desperately trying to keep you giving them their money is making me not want to give them their money.
I know.
Because just give me the $60 game, let me have the 20, 30, 40-hour experience, and let me check out and go play something else, and I'll come back to your series when you do a new edition. you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, so I'm gonna ask this question, and we're gonna get out of here because it's kind of late. Do I think PlayStation has anything to compete with Halo Infinite? Despite not knowing what Halo Infinite actually is, because I do not. I'm not saying there are people out there that. I'm not saying there are not people out there that do.
I mean, they've only shown 2 kind of pretty
Images,
cinematic trailers, and there's no like gameplay or anything, so nobody
So-
really knows.
I do think PlayStation 5 has a bunch to compete with Halo Infinite because they've said PS5 is going to be backwards compatible with PS4. So there's a whole bunch of single player experiences that'll compete with Halo Infinite. There are a whole bunch of multiplayer experiences that'll compete with Halo Infinite. So yes, I do think they have it. If you're talking about their launch lineup, I don't know what their launch lineup is, so I can't really comment there. We have lots of guesses and lots of ideas, and I think all of those have been expressed between Corey and Moose tonight. But that is all just wild speculation, and I think wild speculation is fun at this point.
And with the backwards compatibility and this new kind of era, like this is the first time that we're like, well, there's a gray area in the console generation. Yeah, we're getting new boxes, but like Xbox has already stated, like if you have an Xbox One, it's most likely most of their first party games will probably run on it at a lower resolution, lower frame rate, but like, and like the stores and stuff, like there's no defining. Like if you look at the Xbox One apps, right? And I know this, we're going long. I know we need to wrap up, but like you look at the games apps on your dashboard, and it's like, well, these games are clearly marked Xbox. These ones are clearly marked Xbox 360, but all the Xbox One games are like just images of the games. And like when we move to Xbox Scarlet, like, will they just show up as apps too? You know, like
Probably,
they're just kind of blending with the new stuff, and it's like, well, okay.
And I also think it speaks to what a new console generation means. Now, Moose and I are lucky to be in a chat with Phillips, who like super understands tech and is pretty good at articulating it to us.
Down for us,
huh? Yeah, he explains it to us pretty well. He pipes into our Nerds Gone Rogue host chat with it as well, and I think from here on out, it can't be about resolution and graphics anymore, because they're already talking about 8K for the PlayStation 5, which fucking why?
Because Samsung has that nice new OLED 8K TV that they need to sell because it's $10,000.
But that's Sony, not Samsung. But also, like,
Samsung, not Sony.
we are getting to the point where any graphic improvements the human eye will not even notice.
Right.
So, at which point, what are we doing? And I think, like with the idea of a solid state drive. Implementing ray tracing at a hardware level instead of a software level, I think the aim is to get load times down, because that is the one modern inconvenience that everybody still complains about.
And why Stadia might actually have a fighting chance this fall.
Well, I mean, like,
I'm not saying they're going to win, but I'm saying that's very appealing to people who care
but
about
also
that sort of thing.
incorporating Stadia into this discussion is a completely different kettle of fish, because then it becomes what they're promising versus what they'll actually deliver, and then that also turns into what every console has
guessing what buttons you're going to press before you press it.
Exactly. But and like, all I can say is, PlayStation 5 has plenty to compete with Halo Infinite, because the PlayStation library, speaking as someone who's played games that are available on Xbox but no Xbox exclusive this generation, I could say I'm more interested in the PlayStation library than I am the Xbox library.
I mean, on that point, like, I know Halo Infinite is coming to Xbox One X or whatever family of systems, and it's like that's kind of preventing me from wanting to upgrade You know, I mean, it was different with Breath of the Wild because I'm a Nintendo fan and I want the Switch, right? But
Exactly.
like, Nintendo's the only system that I buy at launch, and like, if Sony has something more appealing than the next Xbox next fall, like, I might just play Halo Infinite on Xbox One X until, you know, Gears 6 comes out, or Fable, or whatever Ninja Theory's next game is. You know what I mean? Like, until there's something worth upgrading for.
Just watch. PlayStation 5 is going to launch with Sunset Overdrive Ultra Remaster.
Well,
Enhanced Edition.
it was Sunset Overdrive was rated somewhere for PlayStation.
Yeah.
And Sony does own the IP now. So
So, but yeah, like, which, speaking of Xbox exclusive, that reminds me, Ori and the Blind Forest is now available on Switch.
yes, it is.
I should probably play that.
And it's the optimal way to play that game because on console, on Xbox, it runs at 30. On Switch, it runs at 60.
What?
Yep.
Okay, let's get out of here. This has been episode. Oh, wait. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Hendrix, for your questions. If you want to email us questions, nerdsdownwardpodcast@gmail.com, or you can interact with us in our groups or Discord at the top of the show, or Twitter or Instagram as well. All of that's at the top of the show. My name is Matthew Keeler. You can find me everywhere at infinite_rewind. I can't speak now. Infinite_rewind. Everywhere. Moose, where can we find you?
At Sven everywhere. And here.
Cool.
Nice.
Corey, take us home.
You can find me at CoreyNHD713 on Twitter. You can find me at CoreyNHD on Twitter and Instagram. No. What? Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know. My head hurts. You can find me at CoreyNHD on Instagram and Mixer. You can. Jeez, I'm retiring. This is tough.
Okay, you know what? Quit this social crap. Let's just get out of here.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Watch us Monday night live on YouTube. Watch us later on YouTube out in edited form and on podcast services. Enter giveaway, all that stuff. And yeah, we love you. Thanks for watching. All that crap. Goodbye.
Banana and out.
Gosh.
You're welcome.